Do men hate women's content? Well, I think it's fair to say I would be surprised if there was many men who actually enjoyed women's content, as it is quite literally women's content. No, I'll slow down. We got this TikTok from this woman who says men cannot handle being subjected to women-centric content, even though it's for women, where she goes into this big thing about how like men complain online and they're all whinging on the internet because someone made something for women. Well, she's wrong. It is fair to say there are some guys who don't like content from men and complain about it to no end. But what she does is she highlights major blockbuster films, which are intended for general audiences, and then says men don't like them because they're made for women. I'm going to start by saying this. It's entirely fine if she wants to criticize some men, but she does just say men. And I would also like to point out this content not made for women. The Marvels, a bunch of women punching other women. Dude, that is not women-centric content. And I can debunk the whole thing she gets into. But okay, let's first play this video. You can hear her arguments, and then we'll talk about the question of whether or not men like women's content or are offended by it. And I want to stress too, it's not like this lady's like the most important lady in the world. It's not like her opinion is the most important opinion or anything like that, obviously. So why highlight a video like this? It gives an opportunity to explain the mistakes made by many of these people when it comes to producing movies, comic books, video games, etc. When you argue that The Marvels, a superhero film, is made for women, that's the mistake. Successful content that targets women, 50 Shades of Grey. Sorry, that's reality. But there are women like this that they want to be in male spaces. Dude, if the average woman does not visualize herself flying through the air and punching people in the face, and instead is more interested in like The Notebook or I don't know, what Legally Blonde, I don't know what movies women are watching. Or how about this? How about the, what was that? Twilight, the vampire film the teenage girls were all into. And they put themselves in the position of Bella, the girl who is being courted by the powerful vampire. That's a really fascinating take on this too. Content made for women. How about where the main character is actually less powerful than the main dude, Edward? I gotta be honest, I don't actually see the movie, but then she becomes a vampire and, you know, whatever. But let me play some of this for you and we'll talk about it. Here we go.
Examples of men not being able to handle being subjected to content that caters to women, even though women every single day have to endure content only made for men. The first category is just when they have to start seeing something made for women too much. And the obvious example is the Barbie movie.
Yeah, let's stop right there. Barbie's not made for women. It's a general audience film. That's why they have Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie. Barbie is a mainstream popular brand. Now, to be fair, I think they did think it would skew towards females, but family, in which case they expect a general audience. But again, yes, I will give some credit to her. They probably expected a female skewing audience on this one, but I don't think it's fair to say this is a movie catering towards women because it is a general audience blockbuster that is meant to be big. It was meant to generate hundreds of millions of dollars. It did. And they expect everyone to go see it. But, I'll give her a little bit on this one.
They were just so annoyed that Barbie was everywhere. They could not escape it. And that like people were talking about it more than Oppenheimer.
Who? Where? When did that happen? Everybody was loving talking about Barbenheimer and they thought it was hilarious. I did not see dudes being like, I hate Barbie. Why does Barbie movie exist? They don't care. Did dudes come out in mass and complain about 50 Shades of Grey or like, what's that? They made a sequel to it or whatever. The point is, it's fine if you're saying some dudes complain about it, but she's saying men. Here's a really good one. Look at this.
Applies to any women-centric content that just becomes so popular that men have to start to hear about it more than they want to. Like this guy that made his wife put money in a jar every time she mentioned Taylor Swift. This happens anytime women just start to like something.
No, it doesn't. Anytime women start to like something, men tell them to put money in a jar. Okay, I'm being a little pedantic here. But no. Seriously, the dude made a joke about the Taylor Swift jar because his wife was a super fan. It's fine if a guy was a huge fan of Barry Manilow and someone did the same joke, we'd be like, fine. This lady has a chip on her shoulder about men. That's the issue.
Start to talk about something enough that it seeps into men's consciousness. Like when we were all joking about girl math a few months ago, they were so mad.
Who's they? Who is they though? They were so mad. Like, all dudes, dude, nobody cares about you, man. Come on, calm
That
down.
it was so popular, it was reaching them. Another category is when something men see as being made for them starts to be a little less made for them. Like when they made this female-centric Marvel movie and they lost their minds. They just think,
All right, let's talk about this one. The Marvels, a superhero movie. It is not catered towards women. Okay, fine. I guess it's not catered towards men either. Fair point. Guys like the hero's journey, but general audiences tend to as well. I think it's totally fine. You see, let's go back to Twilight. What's Twilight about? All right, you have this high school teenage girl. She didn't have any powers or anything. And then a car is about to hit her when all of a sudden, boom, this guy puts his hand on the car and it's all dented and he stops it and he's like, oh, are you okay? Yeah, you see, here's a story, Twilight, that was written for women. And the funny thing is, 50 Shades of Grey, my understanding was Twilight fan fiction. And then it was changed because it was so popular. So you have Bella. I'm probably trying to get the name. I only know like Edward and Bella, I guess. Is Edward the guy's name? But basically, here's the female fantasy that sells really, really well among women. Men did not care. There was no like, I can't believe they're making Twilight. Oh, movies are bad. Some guys probably, but generally, no guys cared. Women put themselves in the role of a woman who was being saved. I think this is a really great example of how you make superhero genre films with women in mind. Now, instead, the Marvels and many of these films are women as the ultimate superhero, but they make the characters nasty. So when you make the story of an ultimate protector and guys identify with it, and then women don't like it, the movie bombs, everyone hates it, it's not men who are complaining. This lady's like, men didn't like the Marvels. Who are they making the movie for? Because nobody went to go see it. It bombed. It was the worst box office bomb Marvel has ever seen. So clearly women did not like it either. Okay, here we go. There's more.
every piece of content should be geared towards them. Pro tips for launching successful movie geared towards guys.
Wait. Hold on. Let's say that again, lady.
Movie and they lost their minds. They just think every piece of content should be geared towards them.
Wait. So she says guys think everything should be made for them, and then she highlights someone who's saying how to make something geared towards guys. This is not someone saying every movie everywhere should always be for guys.
Pro tips for launching successful movie geared towards guys. This is how they reacted when there was a female lead of a Marvel movie, which women also watch.
Yeah, you see, here's the thing. Women and men have different perspectives, different desires. Men tend to be object-oriented. Women tend to be subject-oriented. And the male power fantasy is the guy who jumps on the grenade to save everybody. And I don't know. I don't know if there is the female power fantasy. One argument is that the female power fantasy is like these movies where the woman gets to do whatever she wants, goof off, screw around, and then she ultimately gets the guy anyway. But I think I've pointed out exactly there is I don't think power fantasy is the right thing to put in it. The male fantasy is of power, right? You have Spider-Man, and he's got to save the busload of kids and his girlfriend. And then Green Goblin is like, choose, Spider-Man. Who will you save, the little children or Mary Jane? And then Spider-Man saves both because he's awesome, and that we like Spider-Man because of that. And then you have Twilight, which did extremely well. And then the derivative, 50 Shades of Grey, which was more like BDSM stuff, I guess. I don't know anything about it. But Twilight was the woman being saved by the big, strong man. And then she's got a werewolf and a vampire fighting over her because she's so special. Like this is what Twilight is. And this was selling extremely well among women. Now, you want to make a movie for women? There you go. Why make the male fantasy with a female character arc that doesn't relate to either males or females? I got no problem with you making whatever you want, but let's be real, lady. Ain't nobody wanted to see that movie. Twilight did really well, and the other Marvel movies did really well. But when you mix them, look, and when they did Bros, nobody, the movie about the two gay guys, nobody wanted to see that either because it's about market cap.
This girl just went to see the movie, and this person tweeted at her calling her fat and ugly. The same thing happened.
Oh, dude, welcome to the internet.
When they tried to put women in the Ghostbusters movie. Again, it doesn't matter if people think these movies are good or not.
It doesn't matter if people think these movies are good or not. Dude, the movie was objectively bad. That's it. When they did the new Ghostbusters, the recent one, with the diverse cast of young people, including females, ain't nobody had a problem with it. The problem is when they do the problem with Ghostbusters was that it was not funny. It was slapstick. And I got to tell you, I watched a great video that broke down the problem with the new Ghostbusters 2016. So in the original Ghostbusters, when they're explaining the power of the proton packs, the things they wear to shoot the ghosts, they're in an elevator. The whole scene takes like 20 seconds. And one of the Ghostbusters is like, can you switch me on? And they flip it on and it goes, like it plays that sound. And then they slowly walk away from it. And it's like in that short scene, you understand the power and instability of these weapons they have created and the fear that it could blow up and take out New York City. In the Ghostbusters 2016, it was like a 3-minute long sequence where she's like flying through the air and they're like, whoa. And it was all just overly elaborate, overly explained jokes. That's why people didn't like it. They were not mad that it was just a bunch of women. Stupid idea, nonetheless.
They were mad that they were made. This is the most ridiculous.
No, they weren't. Now, I'm gonna give her credit on this one.
This example, but I think it still applies. There were men who were mad that the brown M&M was being remade to be less sexy, less appealing to men. Like, why do the M&Ms have to cater to male gaze?
This lady's got a chip on her shoulder. Let me tell you, I have bad news for you, ma'am. There are women who also don't like these things too. I know. There were women who did not like the Marvels. How do I know? They did not go and see it. So I don't know what to tell you. There are a lot of these things that you're claiming about, and guess what? Women don't like them either. Now, as for the M&M thing, it was one of the stupidest things that Tucker Carlson ever did on his show, where he complained about the M&M being less sexy. Sorry. Dude, I don't care if they made the M&M a clown or gave it big fake boobs. I'd just be like, this is stupid. It is a dumb commercial for a piece of candy. And I got to be honest, it was not just men who were upset about it. Now, to be fair, Tucker did do a segment on it, but I don't know what her point is.
They're just like, if my eyes have to see the brown M&M, she should be dressing for me. The issue is not that sports bars play sports. It's that male content is so omnipresent. The infrastructure is so readily available that you're always seeing content made for you that men cannot handle when content made for women comes across their TV.
Wrong, lady. I'm going to say it again. Why didn't you go see the Marvels? This is the funniest thing I love so much about about feminine masculinity, which I'll explain in a second, is that she's not paying money to see this stuff. And you know what? Fine. I mean, the Marvels made, like 47 million. It was 46.1 in their opening weekend. So someone went and go to see it. Effeminate males and masculine females. And if it worked for them, bravo. I don't care who they make the movie for. I think the problem was bad storytelling. That was the problem with the first one. Characters that don't inspire, and the movies flop. So if you like it, you're allowed to like it. My complaint is not that they made a movie for women, because they did not. They made a movie for weird woke people, and it ruins the brands. If you want to make something for weird woke people, make something new and different. Okay, make new characters that you can snowflake in safe space. Remember they tried that? That failed too. The issue here is people like this who have a chip on their shoulder blame men for everything. Let me explain. Just simplifying as I wrap this segment up. Women liked Twilight, young women, and 50 Shades of Grey. Men like Captain America and Iron Man. Could you imagine what would happen if they made a movie like Twilight, but it was like a weak, effeminate man being saved by a female vampire and a female werewolf who then fought over him? It could maybe work better than like a movie like The Marvels, but it would not have hit nearly as big as Twilight did. And I want to point out Underworld. Take a look at movies like Underworld, and what do you get? You do get a component of that, female dynamic, of that, or I should say of the protector dynamic. So let's talk about Underworld. Underworld is vampires versus werewolves. And there's Kate Beckinsale plays a sexy vampire. She's very strong and very powerful. And then there's this guy and she rescues him. But what ends up happening to anybody who knows in that series? The dude becomes the ultimate secret weapon, a hybrid vampire werewolf, more powerful than she is. So even when you try to make something that starts off in a similar way to Twilight, it ends with him being the biggest and the best. Now, to be fair to Twilight, I know that Bella has like special abilities and becomes a werewolf and does become powerful. No, I get all of that. But she is still being fought over by two burly, like strong, attractive men. And that is not typical of the male, desire. So even in Underworld, it was just Kate Beckinsale saving this guy, but he was capable in his own right. He wasn't just some guy who is being fought after or fawned over. I think what I mean to say is, if you're going to make something for women, you're typically making something where you have like a Bella who is the object of desire. And that is the female fantasy, to be desired. And then for the male fantasy, you have a man becoming strong, overcoming, and saving those he cares about. Not absolutely, but generally speaking, this is what people are probably experiencing. This lady, look, I get it. Some guys, you're completely right. But the real issue is they're making garbage content for audiences that don't exist. It's not for women. It's for this weird amalgamation that does not make sense and nobody cares about. That's the issue. So, to answer the final question, do men just hate women's content? No. I mean, it's probably fair to say they don't care for it. They're indifferent. Like, I didn't go and see The Notebook or whatever. There's a whole bunch of movies made from it I don't care about. I've never read nor watched Twilight. I've seen it passively, like when it's on TV in the background or something. I don't seek it out. It's not for me. And I got no beef with it. That's just how things go. Do I go around complaining about how you go? Look, let me tell you this one. This lady, she's so full of it. I go to Walgreens, right? Because I want to get like a bag of beef jerky. And what do I see? They got 2 whole sections just for women. They don't have a men's section. In fact, if I want to get like a razor for my face, I got to go to the makeup aisle. And then in the back of the women's makeup, women's, like hair stuff, this big whole section dedicated to all of women's needs. I ain't never complained about it one time. You see what she's talking about? She's full of it. Men are so mad when they're subjected to things made for men. No, we're not. We walk through stores all day and there's aisles in stores just for women and there are not aisles in stores just for men for the most part, but I don't really care. So whatever. There are things women need that men don't need. Have a nice day. Ain't nobody crying about it. I'll leave it there. Next segment is coming up tonight at 8 p.m. over at youtube.com/TimcastIRL. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all then.